Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bionis from Mission Start Podcast. Um, us being back to weekly, we're still working on it. As you might have guessed, there's still stuff to be taken care of in here. Anywho, with me tonight is Craig Dietz,
Hello, hello.
and he and I are going to talk about not only what we've been up to lately, but also we're going to talk about the whole Steam announcements they made a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure you might have heard from everybody else, including their mother, about what their thoughts on the whole Steam announcements were, but we're going to give our thoughts as well. Before we get into any of that, so Greg, it's kind of been a while, a little bit. It's less. It was less than like 3 months this time around, so we're getting better at it.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, man, what have you been up to?
Not a whole lot since the last time we talked. I finally got to play GTA Online for fuck's
Oh
sake.
yeah.
So in case anyone listening doesn't quite know what the hell that was all about, um, Rockstar likes to do this weird thing where they go, "We're not gonna have a beta. We're just gonna launch it and see where it goes." The problem with that is, you have an influx of too many people flooding the servers at the same time, which basically crashes them. But not to the like they kind of prepared for it, and I think that was the 2 weeks leading up to the multiplayer being released. Um, I guess they wanted to see how many they were going to sell because every year they come out with a new game. There's it's more and more people coming to the franchise. Like if you look at how many people bought Grand Theft Auto 4, by the time it before 5 came out, it was like if you looked at the predictions of them getting all those awards and stuff, like it was very much foreseeable. Is the point I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So they tried everything in their power to be prepared for that influx of people. They really, really did. What they didn't prepare for, though, was how badly their servers would just want to explode because of that.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
that normally, yes, their servers can handle that many people. It's not that difficult due to the fact that it's an online thing. However, when you have just so many at the same time, it kind of just it bogs it all down.
Right. What I've heard is that there are just, I mean, like, there's a huge amount of people who want to play this game. And given this was kind of strategic for Rockstar to do, like, release the full game, first, like the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then release the online multiplayer afterwards, which give those people even more of an incentive to play the game. Um, Now, what I've heard is that when going into the game, like when you finally get in, like when you make your character, you can customize your character, and everything
To
else.
to a point, the customization is actually really unique to the game. I've never seen it before. You actually choose your character's grandparents, and that creates you.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really cool to be
yeah,
honest.
so like what you get to see on the screen is there's 4 people up top, and you can choose like grandparents 1 through like grandma 1 through 13, grandpa 1 through like 12, and then your second set of grandparents. You do the same thing, and as you pick your grandparents, you can see on the left your character, but you can also see under each set of grandparents your mom and dad. And so as you're changing them, you see the change in your parents, and it's really interesting to see. Like, the only issue that I have is that there's not enough selection for the grandparents.
Mhm.
What I think would be a lot cooler, in my personal opinion, is if you couldn't see your character at all, and you would just go in, and it's like, okay, pick grandma number 1, and it was like pick the eyes, pick the nose, pick the mouth, pick the skin color, shit like that. Pick grandpa number 1, do the same thing, then do the other 2 grandparents as well. You don't see you still. You then pick, um then like it shows your, like after that it shows your mom, and you can kind of change like maybe a couple things here and there, maybe not, just pick your grandparents, then it shows your mom, and then it'll show you.
Right.
Like, I would rather have that, because I think the thing of, like, being able to see what your character looks like as you're changing your grandparents kind of takes away from the whole, like, it's a genealogy thing. So, um, and it also feels a little stiff. So, other than that, I think it's fine. But yeah, like, once you get past the tutorial, because, like, that was the problem that a lot of people were having, was they could get into they could start it up, create a character, you'd see the opening cutscene and all that stuff, and then there's a part where Lamar, who's a character in the main storyline, because I guess the multiplayer takes place quite some time before GTA 5 actually starts.
Right.
And so Lamar, who's, like, if you played the storyline, he's like Franklin's best friend or whatever. Which says a lot for Franklin, because that guy is terrible. But anyway,
right.
he shows up at the airport and he's just like, "Hey, welcome to Los Santos, and here's a gun." And it's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, he comes in, he's like, immediately wants to race you. So you have to go select a car. You stand over the side and you select a car. Fine, it's perfectly fine, not a big deal. But a lot of people would get stuck on that screen, and it would just show, like, them standing in a line. As a matter of fact, IGN made a hilarious parody of that waiting screen. They just called it GTA 5 or GTA Online in real life, and it's just them making a joke about that loading screen that never goes away. But here's the thing. Once you get past that tutorial, and there's two bits of the tutorial. There's the racing part, and then there's, like, hunting a group down to steal some dope, I think they called it. So I'm assuming weed.
Right.
Which I've never seen that kind of gang-related activity towards weed. But then again,
yeah.
It is the GTA universe. You steal the weed. You go take it to his buddy Jerome or Gerald. I think Gerald. And then after that, you're free to roam. But the game still's like, you still need to do these couple of things here and there. And it's like, go change your clothes, go steal a car, go rob a liquor store, run from the cops, take that stolen car to... Because, like, you'll be driving around the stolen car. And I think this is a really neat feature that they added in. But if you're driving around a stolen car and you drive it past a cop, if he spots that it's a stolen car, which 9 times out of 10 he will, you'll get an immediate 1 star. It's a neat feature, but the problem that I have with it is it's not perfect, because if I'm in the middle of a mission and it's a stolen car, quotation marks, I shouldn't have cops on me right after that. Like, if I'm in a mission and I lose the cops and there's nothing I've done wrong, then it just should immediately be like the campaign or the story mode. But other than that little thing, it's really cool. And so you take it to, like, to Los Santos Customs. You get a couple free things, so you change, like, the color, you put a tracker on it. Which the tracker and insurance are basically, you call insurance if you wreck your car. They will tell you, like, okay, it's at this location, come pick it up later or whatever.
Awesome.
You can call it tax. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool features to it, but I'd say the most fun that I've had in it so far is the like matchmaking type stuff.
Wow.
Going into a like, there's, once you hit a certain level, you can go into survival mode, which is you and 3 other people versus 10 waves of people. Now, it only goes up to 10 waves, which is fine by me, because that still gives me an objective. I know that I can beat it.
Right.
Which I have once already with a couple other friends.
Yeah.
And but I'd say, like, like, deathmatch is okay. I mean, it's fine. It's deathmatch. It's exactly what you think it is. But then there's racing. Now, the racing is a bit different than like GTA 4.
Right.
GTA 4 was just like, if you do GTA race, you can shoot at each other while driving. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, that's fine. 5, however, puts these icons on the road, a la Mario Kart. Now, to be honest with you, it's only rockets and boost. but that still adds a level of like uniqueness to the overall experience, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, like being able to just like pick up these rockets and fire them at somebody and just instantly kill them to get past them is a lot of fun.
All right.
You can still pull out your gun and shoot, and it's just like it's honestly probably the most fun in the game. Plus they have like when you're the host, you can select ketchup, which ketchup, not like you put on your hot dog, but it's basically rubber banding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. Like it keeps the race fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never bored trying to beat somebody. I'm never so far back that I'm just losing my mind.
Mm.
Like it's a lot of fun. Plus you can turn cops on for races.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting variants you can have on races. You can turn you can have it raining, you can have it, I don't think they have snow in the game, but you can have it raining, or like you can have a thick fog like at night with traffic on. Like you can have like that kind of thing.
Wow.
It adds a lot of variance to the multiplayer, and I want to play more of it, but the only issue that I have is it's still very choppy.
Oh, is it really?
Oh yeah, I'll be racing, and there's times where I've like driven off a cliff because as I'm turning a corner, everything just stops for a second, and then it'll pick back up.
Is it just in racing, or is it in everything else?
Oh, it's in everything else.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
It's even in the free mode.
Wow.
It's just like everything has a quick hiccup, and that does suck when you're trying to be precise.
Wow. That's, see, here's the thing is like, because I've been hearing from other podcasts, like, they're loving, the GTA Online multiplayer and everything. But also because they're pressed and they got it early. So
Right.
when it went into the wild, I guess, wow, I did not hear that. Wow, that is crazy. The fact that I mean, it's not crazy to think about it, but it's just kind of, wow.
It's not often enough for it to be like a real serious complaint,
Mm-hmm.
but it's often enough to where like I've noticed it and it's frustrating.
Hmm.
Because all of a sudden, like, I'm in second place, and then that happens, and then I have to hold down Y to respawn at the last checkpoint, and all of a sudden I'm in fifth. Like, that does suck. That is something that should not happen. But I am forgiving because I understand what Rockstar is going through right now. I understand.
Oh, yeah, I'm
what they're
pretty
doing.
sure. Yeah, they're trying to fix everything in time for everybody to play it at a better speed and whatnot.
Right. One of the things I think, like, I hope that they learned was that they need to do a beta next time.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
for sure, yes.
this is something brand spanking new, and I really do feel that the way that this multiplayer works, that this could turn into basically GTA MMO.
Yeah.
I think I said that last podcast, but the problem that I see is like there's a thing called passive mode.
Mm-hmm.
Which passive mode is fine, but I shouldn't have to pay $100 to do passive mode, in-game money, and
Yeah.
I certainly shouldn't have it just turn off the second I get into a car.
Right.
Like passive mode should always be on until I turn it off. And passive mode, even if I hit another player, it prevents me from hurting them. That way, they don't seek retaliation.
Mm.
Like that's a big. I think there's a few oversights that they missed.
Mm-hmm.
First off, when I first was playing the game, and like yes, if you start from story mode, you can go into a lobby without any other people. But to be honest with you, that's not what Rockstar had in mind.
Yeah.
They wanted you to go into a world with a bunch of different people. Bunch of randoms, because then you can just go to a spot for like a mission and then say invite from current session. It'll invite everybody in that overworld that you're in, and you just start a mission with a random. That's what they intended for. But unfortunately, there's too many assholes that exist in the world, and you'll go into a lobby and then all of a sudden you're dead.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to kill you over and over and over again.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Um, the thing that there was something that I wanted to ask. Did you play with your headset on just by curiosity?
So yes, um,
Did you talk
all it
or?
does,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what it does is when you talk, your character's mouth moves a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to make it look like your character's talking.
Mm-hmm.
The louder you are, the more open his mouth gets, but
Ah.
he doesn't actually say anything. Now, for this to work, and when you're like robbing a liquor store or what the fuck ever you're doing to use it,
Yeah.
um, it all it does is there's a meter on the bottom that says intimidation, and the more talking that you actually do while he's loading the cash, the faster it goes. It could almost be replaced by like me waving the gun slightly, like,
Hmm.
but
Interesting.
it doesn't do that. I thought maybe shooting the wall behind his head would make him speed up, but that none of that works. It's literally just designed for the voice, and really it's not that much quicker, and it's not any quicker. It's not quick enough to stop, like, to get out of there before the cops show up, like,
Right.
because the second you pull out your gun on him for him to pull out the money, you get an instant 2 stars.
Hmm.
And so that's like, that adds to the whole like, oh, okay, I gotta fucking be quick about this shit. Like, so it's interesting, but it's not like, it's definitely unique and it's definitely fun. It's not bad. I'm not complaining about it. I'm more just the subtle tweaks and things like that are stuff that aren't as impressive. I'd say the stuff that's the most impressive is, like, you'll have a mission that's like 1 to 4 players, and you're like, oh, cool, I can invite my friends. So you'll invite 3 other friends, and it's like a character wants you to go steal 2 different cars that are moving on the map. So, you split up into 2 groups, and then each of you go grab a car, bring it back, and you're done with the mission.
Awesome. I heard that the heists are really fun in the online. If it's pulled right.
I
Um.
haven't gotten that far yet. As far as I know, heists are not available yet to everybody.
Okay. Gotcha.
IGN had an article up that was like, what you can do in GTA Online as soon as it comes out. And like, one of the things that was on the not out yet list was heists.
Hmm.
I imagine there are things, because Lester just recently called me
Mm-hmm.
in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine there's stuff that he's going to have me do soon as I go talk to him.
Right. Right.
But I don't know. I don't have any idea what he wants me to do. I will say this much: there's a leveling system,
Mm-hmm.
and the higher level you are, the more stuff you unlock, and that basically just means clothing items, makeup, hairstyles, tattoos, guns, things for your guns, car stuff. Like, that's all that does. That's all that leveling system does. It doesn't say how good you are, because honestly, go shoot a cop and then run from the cops, escape or evade the cops, and you get experience.
Gotcha.
Drive down the freeway and you get experience.
Hmm.
Do a stupid mission, do a really quick racing mission, get last place, you get experience.
Right. Huh.
Like, that ranking system or that leveling system has nothing to do with your skill level.
Hmm.
Much like other shooters that I can think of off the top of my head. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo 4, technically.
Right. For sure.
Um,
Huh. Okay.
but what does matter is your like overall rank.
Hmm.
So there is a ranking system where, like, right now I'm like a level 8, which is like a thug or some shit like that.
Right. Right. Right.
And that will, like, when you go into like just standard matchmaking for whatever, it'll put you into a group with people at the same skill level.
Hmm. Wow.
So there is that. Like, there's so much to GTA Online that there were some people out there going like, if you watched the trailer and listened to what people were saying about the game, you knew there was going to be problems before it came out. And I was like, yeah, I probably should have, but
Mm-hmm.
shit happens.
Wow. Um. Yeah, definitely. GTA Online would think will be a game that be people play for a while, or at least until the next big thing will come out, and obviously that would be the new consoles.
Right. Well, like, a lot of people are like, it would be insane for Rockstar to not release GTA 5 at some point on the new consoles and on PC.
Hmm.
That would just like, oh no, we don't want more money, so go ahead. Like,
Right, right. Cool. What else have you been up to?
that's about it. I've been writing the article for the website. Can I tell the people the title of the article?
Oh yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
It's my top 10 best video game franchises.
Hmm. And
So,
I don't know anything about it other than the fact that Greg's working on it. So I'll be uh just like everybody else. I'm finding out what those top 10 will be. Cool. As for me, I've been playing the game of school. That has been I've been playing it in very hard mode. Actually, aside from that, actually, what I have been doing is I have been playing a game that's not a fighting game for once. Um, I've been playing a game that just came out recently. It's called Pac-Man
yeah.
Championship Edition DX Plus, and it's basically the same version of the XBLA but for Steam. And my God, that game is crack to me. Like, here's the thing. I take my laptop to school like 2 times out of the week. I have that game loaded on my laptop, and every in between classes or up time, like I'll pop it out and I'll play it. That game is just so good. For people who don't know, basically, Pac-Man Championship Edition is basically it's a 3D version of Pac-Man. You're still top view, and you're still going around eating pellets and eating the blue ghosts when they turn blue when you did the big pellets. The difference is that every time you eat a ghost, you go faster. And your Pac-Man character will go faster as well. So eventually you get to the speed where you are just going crazy fast around the map, and you're just eating pellets and trying to avoid the ghosts at the same time. The new thing in this game is that the ghosts are already on the stage, and they are asleep. If you go nearby them, they'll wake up and start to follow you. And eventually, the way you want to do it is that once you have like a long line of ghosts right behind you, say like 10 or like 12, when you eat a power pellet, you go in reverse, and then you just get increasingly faster as you eat each ghost on the way down or up or whatever direction they're coming at you from. Um, so it's so simple, but it's so cool. They got different modes. They have like automatic. They have, kind of. It reminds me a lot of Geometry Wars, and I love the shit out of that game. So, it's my new crack for a little bit. But other stuff. I've been playing a lot more Dead Space 3, like with my brother. We've been playing co-op as of late with the game. And
Yeah, that game's a lot of fun co-op.
oh, it is. It really is. I love it. I mean, there are parts where because here's the thing, like we don't have microphones on, um, but like the way we communicate, it's like it's kind of funny when you think about it because like back then we didn't have like communication between two people online wasn't like we had a microphone or anything. We had to use some sort of clue, like shooting at something or pointing at something or hitting them, or it's just
Well, yeah,
it's funny.
especially online. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny how like we kind of developed the system like okay, you stay here, kill these monsters while I do this. It's just kind of funny, just as we're playing through it and just kind of in that mode. But like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The story is so far like, I felt like it mm, it wasn't the best so far. I mean,
There's a story to that game.
I love the lore behind Dead Space, but like in Dead Space 3, like so far, like I'm up to like chapter I believe 8, or maybe even past that, maybe almost nearing 10. I think I'm like almost near the halfway point of the game, and like the story, like I felt like just kind of rushed it, or like they kind of just like thrown man, what's his name? The main character. Oh shit, main character Dead Space. Fuck, I forgot his name. Oh, Isaac. Yeah. It's just funny. It's just like it feels like they threw Isaac in this situation, like without much of a backstory, other than the fact that he's been on this planet that he's been still so fucked up from what happened in the previous Dead Space 1 and 2 that he feels like he can't escape it. And while this is happening, like the entire planet's like being engulfed by necromorphs and other shit, and it just so happens like the police come in and it's like he doesn't even realize it until they tell him like you gotta come with us and whatnot. So it's like I felt it was kind of forced, but it's just I wish they would have took more time with it. And then again, I'm only halfway or nearly halfway through the game, so.
What did the other championship whatever Pac-Man games? Did they have storylines too, or is this the first one to have storyline?
Oh, I was talking about Dead Space.
Oh wow, I spaced. I don't know how I didn't pick up that. Jesus.
No,
I like time travel apparently, because I swear I thought you were still talking about Pac-Man. That's why I was like, that game has a storyline?
No, I was talking about Dead Space, man. I was like,
you're talking about Dead Space 3, which I've watched you play on Twitch.
Yes, that's what I've been that game I've been playing. I was having Pac-Man, so.
Sorry. Okay. Woo! That was nuts, man. Okay.
Yep.
I'm back. What's up?
Yeah, you didn't miss much. But yeah, I mean, like I just been. Those are the two main things I've been doing. Obviously, It's funny. I've been downloading a lot more games, as in buying games, more because of Steam and Humble Bundle. Whenever those come out, it's like I always have to buy them, or every once in a while I have to. It's just I've ever since like Humble Bundle ever came out, like I own so many games now that I never did before. It's like I look at my list for Steam, I got like 126 games, and that's like not even all the games I still have in my list I didn't bother to install. That's it.
The games that like I really want to play on Steam that segue that I don't ever get to because my computer sucks a whole lot of dick. I'll put it this way: my computer's so slow that it's slow for internet browsing.
Oh,
it's the worst. Anyway, moving on from my depressing computer. That I need to get a new one, or I need to just upgrade it. Honestly, like,
yeah.
Or just I don't know. I don't know what I need to do.
We should do it together, Greg. I need to upgrade my computer too. Mine's 5 years old.
Oh, mine's got to be at least like. I'll put it this way: my buddy gave me this computer that he has,
and
he bought it about a year before Spore came out.
Wow.
So I'm guessing 2001. I'm gonna actually look up which Spore came out. Anyway, the point I wanted to make about Steam was that there's a lot of like these cool pixel art side-scrolling games that I want to play.
Right.
That I think look like a hell of a lot of fun, but it's just between money and a shitty computer, I just don't have the capabilities of playing it. So I have to go on to YouTube and watch other people play them, and it's frustrating because I know that these games are awesome, and I know that I like would just enjoy the hell out of playing them, but I'm so limited, and
I
guess that's a segue into our next point.
For sure. But before we get to that point, we'll have to take a little break and let I can't even talk tonight. I'm gonna let our humble sponsors talk for a minute, and then we'll continue on. So, with that, we'll be right back. Hello, everyone. This is Anthony Be Honest from the Mission Start Podcast, and if you enjoy listening to this podcast as well as our other ones on our website, you can now hear us on Stitcher. You can now hear our show as well on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio, on-demand news, talk, and more on your mobile phone. The latest episodes always available for you, no syncing needed, and no money or storage wasted. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android phones, and beyond. Downloading is easy. Go to Stitcher.com or check out your app store. Stitcher, Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. And we're back. Packers are awesome. Anyways, so as Greg and I were talking during the break, Greg, you're telling me your problems with your PC and how you weren't much of a PC gamer.
Right. Yeah, like I was kind of telling him this when, between the break was I didn't grow up in a house with a PC. And because of that, like I'll give you an example of who my father was when he went into college. He took a class that taught DOS. And during a break between, like, in the class or whatever, he stood outside smoking a cigarette, and there were like 3 or 4 nerds talking about cool things that are coming out when it came to computers. And my dad looked straight at them and goes, "You guys are insane. This is nothing but a fad. You're wasting your time." Put out his cigarette and never came back to that class.
That's still funny to me.
I'm not saying it's not hilarious. I'm just saying that's the man I grew up with in my house. So,
right.
and my mom's so completely like tech inept. It's not even funny. She couldn't hook up an old school cable box back in the day.
Oh wow.
We had an intercom system in the house, and she could barely function that. So really, I just didn't grow up in a house with people that were tech savvy.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, never grew up in the house with a PC until I was like 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The only PCs I ever touched were my friends' PCs, and so that's how I got to play some of the old school computer games, was going to my friend's house. So I do enjoy some good PC gaming, like StarCraft 2, for example. I played the entire way through at my friend's house.
Oh god, that was so awesome! I love that game.
Yeah, Diablo 1 and 2. I played the hell out of that with my friend. There's a ton of games that I played, and because of that, I'm not as tech savvy with a PC. I'm okay with software to a point. I kind of know what I'm doing, but there's a lot of times I don't. I absolutely don't.
Right.
I think the older I get too, I just turned 30 this year, and I swear to you, I have no idea what the hell's in my PC.
Well, it seems that Valve might have answered the call. As they recently announced 3 big announcements 2 weeks ago, I believe. And obviously it's on 3 things. The Steam OS, which is, I think, Linux based, if I'm not mistaken. The Steam console itself, aka Steam machines. And then they have the controller that they unveiled on the last day. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure me and everybody else wanted on that 3rd day to be the Half-Life 3 announcement that we all been waiting for, but it didn't happen. They teased us again with the 3, but no, it did not happen.
Right.
Just to get that out of the way. Now,
I personally think that they have the tightest lockdown on any of their new games coming out.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for like a big moment to announce, like, we got Portal 3 and Team Fortress 3 and Half-Life 3 and what's the other game they have that I can't think of all of a sudden. 3.
Let's bring back Day of Defeat.
Day of Defeat. No, there's another game that they have 2 out already of, and I'm trying to remember the fucking name of it.
Let's see, Portal. Ricochet, or what the hell
No,
this
not
game?
Ricochet.
Half-Life. No. Yeah.
I'll look it up while you're talking about what the hell we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. So obviously, if you heard the beginning of this podcast, the topics of tonight will be the whole Steam announcement. Now, here's the thing. Let's take it let's take it day by day as far as like when the announcements happen. On the Monday of the week that they were making those 3 announcements, the first thing they announced was the Steam OS, and I think me, myself, and others included, and I even watched Adam Sessler's kind of soapbox about it too, is that the Steam OS that was announced, that it was Linux based, and that you can have it on your computer and stream it to the Steam machines, or potentially what you could do there. Aside that and the announcement of Family Share Plan, was that we felt like we felt kind of confused. Like we didn't know how to feel about it. It's like, should we be excited about this or we don't know exactly, you know? And we didn't know at the time. Obviously, it was meant for the Steam Machine console, but when it was announced, it was just like a very open air, like I guess we're excited type of feel. Like,
Yeah.
how did you feel about it when it was announced?
Uh, I kind of saw it coming because there was a thing they had a long time ago. Because now which we're talking about the Steam box, right?
We're talking about the Steam OS on the first announcement.
That's what I thought. Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Even on that one note, I kind of saw it coming because they had announced like a couple years ago, maybe a few years ago, that they were working on a PC that anyone could use.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the ideas, like when they were like, oh, we have 3 things coming out that we're going to announce this week, one Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I knew that Monday was going to be the most obvious one. And I felt like something like that was going to be the most obvious one because the Steam the Steam OS can run on any PC, not just whatever they have coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of saw that as it wasn't a big shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I am excited for it, and I'll explain why. Steam, however you want to put it, has always been the company that really gives freedom to the players. I've never seen them come out with anything software related that was unhackable or wasn't allowed to be hacked. So I feel that the Steam OS will be basically the new Windows. It'll surpass Windows simply because people, for one, are absolutely irritated with Microsoft and Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I know it'll be user friendly. I know it'll be hacker friendly. Like it's just gonna be the overall end all like OS to have.
And the funny thing is that even Gabe Newell, and if you've been hearing what he was saying prior to the announcements, it's like he was gung ho for Linux and he disliked Microsoft's OS and really didn't like it at all. I think he publicly said it too, actually, at one point. But he was gung-ho for Linux, and people were kind of wondering, like, why do you want to support Linux? You know, it's an OS that nobody really uses. And sure enough, it was just kind of a groundwork for the Steam OS. Just to read a few things off their website, first, like what's going to be offering in the Steam OS. One thing I said prior was family sharing. And the way that works, and I finally got the gist of it when I was listening to the We Can Confirm podcast. By the way, shout out to you guys. Is that the way it works is that basically, say I have an account and Greg, I add you on my family sharing plan. You can play on my account whenever I'm not using it, and you can able to save your saves on your computer. Or you can get your what's the word I'm looking for, achievements or items on your computer. Now, when I come home, when I want to play a game on my account, it will boot you out, or I'll let you know, like, hey, I'm about to play on my account, and then you would have to either buy the game for yourself or wait until I'm done and you can go back on. That's kind of how that it's really the funny thing. The really funny thing about this is that this is a thing that Microsoft announced for their Xbox One console, and everybody was kind of shitting on it. And now that Steam announces it, everybody loves it.
Well, you see why that is, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of what I was talking about when we were talking about the console right after E3 was.
Right.
And it was one of the first things I said was like, why are you mad at this system? This is something that Valve has been striving for the past 8 years now.
Right. The only difference is the fact that Valve's not charging anything for this, while Microsoft was
True.
was originally planning to. But yeah, go on.
That is true, and that's fine. If that was a complaint that people had, then that was a legit complaint. I would have never argued that. But that's not what people were complaining about. They were complaining that it was a thing at all, that it exists,
Mm-hmm.
that they wanted to do this, and they felt that it was an invasion of privacy or whatever. And it drove me nuts because nobody wanted to put into context as to what they were doing. Nobody wanted to put into context what was happening, and that's partly Microsoft's fault for not explaining it properly, but. I had this really strong feeling that was the future of games, and the fact that Valve is doing it now proves my point.
Mm-hmm.
Proves that this is where gaming is going.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Valve and Steam, PC has a complete fresh voice now in the video game market.
Oh, definitely. If it wasn't for Steam and Blizzard, PC gaming would not be as popular as it is today than it was back then.
I like to say if you go to a time before World of Warcraft,
Yes.
PC was, if you looked at the numbers, on its way out.
Yeah. It was back in the days where you would buy a game at a say a Funko Land or a Target, and it was in a big box with like the manual and like with the
I never
the CD.
understood that either. Like the shittier games were in the more logical, cheaper boxes,
Yeah.
but the big games were in like these big, bulky, way bigger than they should be boxes that for like 1 or 2 discs. Like it always.
It's cool though. I like kind of like it was like it's like they put more effort into the artwork of the box than they did with the actual things inside it. But yeah, like it was a time where it was not the greatest. Not to say we're old farts, but just saying as it is.
Right. Well, we are old farts. You're turning 30 soon, or what? How
Oh yeah, don't remind me. Yeah, that's supposed to be a secret, man. You broke it. Oh, well, now my secret's out. So all right. But
we grew up in the same time then, if that's the case, and we've seen how trends have gone when it comes to gaming, and we know what clicks and what doesn't click with people, and something that clicks with people when it comes to any media form is freedom.
right.
Don't tell me what movie I have to see at the theater. Let me choose what movie I want to see.
Speaking of which, the other things in the SteamOS announcement was that they are including music, TV, movies, in the SteamOS you can use to stream onto you can stream on the SteamOS, which I mean like Steam has been Valve in general has been moving from its PC origins trying to get to the living room, and this is one of the things that kind of the aha moments where like, oh, this is another note to put down, like they're really aiming for that living room and trying to compete with Microsoft and Sony and other console makers out there. And then on top of that, also the in-home streaming, real quickly, is that the other thing they announced was that you can have SteamOS on your computer, and you can stream your games, say any game on your Steam list onto the Steam machine, and on their big TV in the living room. So it's obvious that they're really aiming to get to the console market and really wanting to go at it.
Right. I think that's really smart. Personally, I think it's not only opening their market to a wider audience, but it's allowing them to open this indie game market to a wider audience as well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think that's super important, in my personal opinion, that you look at a lot of these indie games that are coming out and they're fucking amazing, but the only way you can play them is on Steam. That's the only place you can play them, and well, not only. Clearly you can get them from their own website, but you can only play them on PC, period.
Right.
And the fact that like this fucking thing, the Steam machine, is a like a home computer anyone can use at any point, and it's completely upgradable. I think the other thing that's really smart about them, and I don't remember if I had heard this in that old school announcement that they had for this type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
or this was announced on the Steam machine, but uh, it's completely like easily upgradable to the extent that they'll have ways that you can just like bring in your Steam machine to like Fry's or Best Buy, and there'll be people there to help you with it.
Mm-hmm. Um, and obviously, this is a segue to talk about the Steam machine that was announced on day 2. Now, everybody, even we all knew that it was coming eventually, and we finally got the announcement. The thing was though is that they didn't have any product to show. They're saying that, this is a machine or this is a product console we're working on. We sent it to different manufacturing companies to make different versions of the console, but it's a thing that will come out next year. And some of those companies included Nvidia. I believe AMD was one of them, and then the guys who make Radeon, ATI. But basically graphic card companies, and they're making different versions of the console. Now, well, whether it be, I guess, a different price point for each console, or maybe it's kind of a testing ground for how customizable it can be. I'm not quite sure. So.
Or what it also could be, and I think this would be really cool and smart as well. You can only purchase the low end version.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like only $200 or some shit like that. I don't know how much it's probably be way more than $200, but you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the add-on pieces are a little bit more, like basically like, so you go into the store and you buy the Steam machine, and let's just say it's a price point of $500 right off the bat, right? $500, everyone gets the same fucking machine for $500. Oh, but you want to upgrade it a little bit. You want it to be a little bit faster. Now, every game that's on the market currently can play any game with what you buy when you buy it out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do want to upgrade it for whatever reason, here are your options. And these other products are, they're going to cost you a little bit, but I just don't. I mean, I could be wrong, and I probably will be on this, but I think allowing people the freedom to put whatever they want into the Steam machine is really smart. And I think that's where they need to go. They need to have an overall system for one price point that everyone can buy at the same time that puts everyone on equal footing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think that obviously we all anticipate the Steam machine to be announced. We weren't sure exactly how it looked like. We still don't know what it looks like. But it is very interesting to hear that different companies are making the same version of the console. It makes me think that there could be different, price points, as you said, for the console, where there be a low end, there be a high end, there could be a middle ground. As far as like how well that will be received, I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna wait until see how much it is, because like you have to figure, if you were to make three different, three different versions of the console for price, you would have to consider that you're also going up against PS4 and Xbox One and Wii U. Now, as we know, PS4 is coming out at the base level $400 in a month or two. Actually, no, in a month. Jesus, it's getting closer. And then the Xbox One's coming out for $500. It's gonna be interesting to see how it will play out, because they've announced that this will come out next year. They didn't say when exactly. It depends on if they announce it and it'd be coming out, say, next year in the fall, with only about a year of games that came out for the consoles. I would say that it could really make an impact, like because of how many titles they already have on Steam. And they went out and said like there are going to be hundreds of titles ready for the console, but not all of them from the catalog that we've been known to.
Really?
Yeah, not all of them. Not yet. My guess is the fact that once it's all done and
well, let me hold on. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this because I'm a little confused by this.
Right.
Are they saying that like these games are available to buy right away, or are they saying that these games are going to be on the console as soon as you buy it, and you can buy whatever else you want as long as you have an internet connection?
The games that they're saying will work are I can't talk to tonight. Basically what they're saying is that not all the games will work at the start, or they will not all be ready at launch, not yet, but eventually they will all be over time. They didn't specify, they didn't, tell like which game specifically, but they said, a good 100 of the games are on their catalog list on their Steam products, or the Steam website. Um, there'll be a good 100 of them that'll be ready to play on launch day, but not all of them will be available yet.
That's weird. I wonder why that's like that.
My guess is because, and I could be wrong, if anybody's listening, please correct me. But from what I've seen, I think the reason why is because like you have to figure like the console will have to whatever the new console is or whatever the version is, it has to adjust for the game, or like say it has to it may not I don't know, it's my guess is it's something wrong with the console, and either people or companies are waiting for it to figure out what's going to be or what the specs going to be.
Oh, okay, so that's what I was confused about. Was I wasn't sure if what I wasn't sure about was if they were saying that like these games aren't compatible.
Mm-hmm.
But what it sounds like to me is that they're not, like that still sounds a little iffy to me, a little weird. Like, why would all these games that are already on Steam not work on their brand new console? It just doesn't quite make sense to me. Even if you go by the context of, oh, maybe because they're trying to get rights to have it on the new console, it's still like this new Steam box or the Steam machine is supposed to be basically a PC.
It is. I mean, it essentially is.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure either. My other guess could be because it's going off the Steam OS, that it may, I don't know. It's as far as I know, like I'm just kind of throwing shit out there in the water. But as far as like that's what I've heard though. That like not all the games will work at launch. I could be wrong. But as far as what I've heard so far.
Okay, I not to sound like an asshole, but I hope you're wrong.
I know, same here.
Because that sounds really weird.
Yeah, regardless though, there's still going to be hundreds of games able to play on the console. I don't think anybody will have a gripe about it anyways.
That's true. However, like, I don't want it to feel like... I don't want the Steam machine to feel like a console. I want it to feel like a PC. I want to be able to use it like a PC.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my 2 cents about that.
The one other thing is that the Valve has announced that the Steam machines, that they are actually running a beta for it this year, and sending 300 units out to Steam users. And if you're listening to this and you want to be in it, here are the few things you need to do before the 25th of this month. You have to join the Steam Universe community group, agree to Steam hardware beta terms and conditions, make 10 Steam friends, create a public Steam community profile, and then play a game using the gamepad in big picture mode. Real quickly, I've been playing Steam on big picture mode recently, or more often, and I'm actually really liking it. I actually love the big picture mode. It's really simple. Like, you have 3 bars. You have your community, you have your profile, and you have games, and you can. It's very seamless. It's like a much simpler version of Xbox Live without all the ad bullshit. It's real. I have to say, like, it's really. I'm really digging it. I'm no lie. I can see how this can be very convenient for the living room for sure. Also, to point out one other thing real quickly is that in their FAQ. This might be something to do with it. What games will be available during the beta? In the quote, this nearly 3,000 games on Steam, hundreds already running on natively on the Steam OS, with more to come. The rest will work seamlessly via in-home streaming. So,
Is this now? Now you said the word beta, so I'm assuming that this is that whole like limited on games thing is for the beta alone.
yeah, probably that was it. Yeah, yeah. I'm tired, people.
Yeah, as I'm like that just sounds so weird that they would launch a system that's basically a PC
Right.
without all of the availability of games. But
Yeah, and looking at this, looking at this in the big picture, no pun intended in there, is that this could I mean, obviously the PS4 and Xbox One are still going to be, highly regarded, and people will still buy them and buy the games. But I think this would really bowl for Valve's favor. I think that Valve can really compete in the console race. I think that this might be the death blow to Wii U. I'm not saying it's going to be, but this console can easily match up with the other two consoles. Not to mention, nowadays multi-platform games are more often than they were back in the day. So, man, we have to wait and see.
I don't know. The thing with Nintendo right now that I think is that Nintendo kind of lost this touch was games are about having fun, and when you're not really having fun playing their games because their games are a bit too, what's the word I want to use, exclusive to their stupid setup.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. The gamepad has its ups and it has its ups, but it has way more downs than ups. I think that if Nintendo really can concentrate and maybe crank out some AAA titles that, I don't know what they need to do. Honestly, I just feel like every game they come out with that is a new title to a thing, a Mario, Zelda, Metroid, whatever, people just kind of look at it and go, meh.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because they stopped with innovation in terms of gameplay and just kept releasing shit that was like everything else. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what it is exactly, but they need to do something to get their fans back, because right now they're gonna die, and especially if the the Steam machine is as good as they're saying it is and as good as it looks and sounds, it's gonna kill at least one of the three consoles right now available, and I'd say Nintendo's definitely on the chopping block.
For sure. I think that this would, if anything, if Nintendo does go out, they wouldn't be much. They won't be a console marketer anymore. They would be more into software, kind of how Sega went, where there used to be the Dreamcast, and then they went into more software.
Yeah, but that was so fucking weird.
I know. I know.
The other factor, I think the other factor into this is that Nintendo makes a fuck ton of money on other product.
Oh, you're right. You know what? Yeah, you're totally right. You know what? It wouldn't be that they'll be out of the console market. It'll just be more dependent on the handheld market, because they own that space.
Absolutely.
They really do. So you're right.
Well, I mean, you also got to put in perspective that Mario's the third most recognized character in the world or some shit like that. So I mean, they're not gonna stop making consoles, but they're definitely definitely gonna get to a point where the next console generation, all of a sudden no more Nintendo. That's totally a foreseeable thing if Nintendo can't pull something out of their ass soon.
Agreed. Which brings us to the kind of weird segment, but yeah, to our last announcement, and it was the Steam controller, and
man, does this thing look weird.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's we weren't sure how to react to it, because it's so different than any other controller we have. Because if you think about it, over the years, we've evolved from the D-pad square controller of the original NES Nintendo into today we have a 360 controller that is like made for your hands. You got thumbsticks that are like fit to your
Yeah,
thumbs.
I've played hundreds and hundreds of games on different consoles. I mean, it's something that it's my hobby. It's my main hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And like there are a lot of games that work really well for the PlayStation style controller. But when they just kind of like added on the I want to say dual sticks. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
When they added them to the bottom of the controller, they're very like out of place for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. It just it don't feel right. It feels like whenever I use the D-pad and I want to move over to the thumbsticks, it feels like it was gonna get in the way or I was gonna hit something accidentally.
Yeah, it just I love the feel of the Xbox controller.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a lot of PC gamers out there too that hook up a PlayStation controller so that way an Xbox controller so that way they have, because like there's a lot, like me personally, I'm terrible at using a mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the worst at it. So I'd much rather use a controller.
Right.
If this is the controller that Valve comes out with, I'm not looking forward to it because it looks weird.
Right. Here's the thing, like, I'll give credit. Valve has always been one step ahead of everybody else when it comes to the game industry, as far as like what they've developed, not only in games but just as a platform. But this controller now, it's people who have not seen it, or who don't know what it looks like. Just think of this. Just think of like a 360 controller. Reverse the handles coming towards you. And then you have a square, like a black square in the center. You got like 4 triangle buttons on next to kind of like on the corners of the square, but we're going out. And then you have these 2 big circles that they're not joystick or anything like that. They're like pads you put your thumbs on. And there's like 3.
Yeah, the pads. If I could describe the pads properly, they kind of look like speakers.
Yes, exactly. So, I really want to try this out. This is so weird.
Yeah, same here. I'm really intrigued to see how it feels and how it plays.
Mm-hmm.
But on first response of looking at it, I'm like, well, I don't want that. Like that was my first reaction because it looks so bizarre.
Yeah, it's one of those controllers that you would see like a third party would make for a console, like back.
Yeah, something that Mad Catz made.
Oh god, back in the day, Jesus, or Pelican.
Oh, Pelican was worse than Mad Catz.
Yeah, it's so weird. I really want to try it though. Hopefully, if I get accepted to the beta, Valve, if you're listening, send me one of those consoles my way. And then I could try it out. It's like, oh man, it's so weird, but I totally want to try it out. Yeah, it's just, oh man, it's very, very, very interesting. Obviously, lots of people were disappointed that it wasn't the announcement we all were looking for. But it's the cool thing about the controller is that you can assign buttons to whatever command you want. So it's made for functionality and flexibility when it comes to that. So it's easily great for like first-person shooters. I think for platformers it'd be awesome too. I think for other games though, like it won't work as well. I'm not quite sure.
Like my main thing, like the game that I play, I'd say most of the time are shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Where the left joystick is the oh my god, it's so intuitive for me now. I can't remember if the left thumbstick is the left thumbstick up as run or is it look? Holy crap. I just pick up a controller now and I know what I'm doing. Like I've never really put thought into that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that I'm right in that, and the left thumbstick is like look around, the right thumbstick or not look around, but to move
Mm-hmm.
or move the legs, and then the right thumbstick is to move the head.
Right.
And that basically allows me to kind of judge how I'm walking or running or moving. I don't think I've played a game especially first person, hell, even third person, that I didn't use that exact control scheme. And the fact that like this trackpad has that just there's two things to it that kind of worry me, and that's like friction burn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because like, here's the thing: for people who have an iPhone, like, think of that, but on the trackpad on the controller, and over time, like your thumb is just on the iPhone, like especially you're dragging your thumb all over the place, and it's eventually at one point, it gets either sweaty or like it starts to burn a little bit, if you do it too much. Um, I have a I don't know. It's I honestly don't know how it would feel. Like track. I mean, like yeah, it could happen on this controller, but I'm not quite sure if it can. It's just from the look of it, it's like it'd be kind of hard to do so unless you really are pressing hard on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, that's the thing is like me personally, when I'm really into the moment in a game, I have a tendency to squeeze the controller.
Hmm.
I know it's not good for a controller. I know that that's something you shouldn't do, but at the same time, I don't really have control because my adrenaline's pumping, and
Yeah.
that's another thing. I don't relax when I play video games. The only time I have is like Flower, I think, was like the only time I've really relaxed playing a video game, and even then, like when you get to the later levels where you have to like steer it really sharp, like I was still at that point I was like, all right, we're good. Like I get really into the games that I play, especially if they're action.
Hmm.
So, like, I'm always gonna squeeze the controller. I'm always gonna be rough on a controller.
Yeah. It's
But even if
yeah.
I'm not, like you said, like the side-scrolling games, which are probably games that I'm less likely to squeeze the controller on,
Hmm.
they're, it just still seems not something that I want to play with.
Right.
And I could be wrong though, and I just need to get my hands on it. But
Yeah,
just,
it's very yeah. We're all kind of waiting to feel with the controllers. Like, I mean, we've been getting reports from like companies, like Super Meat Boy, guys. Like they say they love the controller.
Ed McMillan.
Yeah, like this they've been touting like this controller is great. And like other recent companies have been spoken out and saying that this controller is actually feels really good. So.
Wow, I've not read anything on that yet. I need to.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure. Like they've been given the controller to different game companies, and they've have said and came out and like this controller is really great. So, it's obviously like we can only go off of what they say, but like honestly, me and many others want to feel how a controller is like in person. That's just that's just kind of I really want to experience it for myself to really give a full opinion on it. So yeah, those were the big announcements. Those were Valve announced 2 weeks ago, and man, um, I would say that if if everything goes right for Valve in this launch and everything that it's been told and everything works, um, I think that I would not be surprised if because like there was an article recently went out from Polygon saying that their announcements might have just changed how the game industry thinks, which I kind of agree with, but I can't quite say that they did because it's they're just kind of entering the console market, but they're bringing basically a PC into your living room without having to worry about exclusivity or which controller you can use, because you're not forced to use the Steam controller. You can use your Xbox 360 controller, your PS4 controller, whatever, your Fight Stick, whatever. It's a virtually a portable PC. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited.
yeah, it should be really interesting to watch them in the next year or so. I mean, it's yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm really excited for the. I'm really excited for this. The Steam iOS. I keep seeing Steam iOS, like the Steam OS, the Steam machine, and I'm interested in the Steam controller. I'm excited for the other two. Steam controller, I'm just interested in because it's weird.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like we have not seen that type of weird controller since like, man, what was the last weird controller we've seen? I want to say the Virtual Boy, but no, there's been weirder controllers like even before that. Um, yeah, I can't think of anything off the head. The only weird controller that I can think of, like back in the day when Mancats had awful controllers, and one of them, which I wanted to get, but it was bad at the time. I didn't know about it. Like they had a controller specifically made for first-person shooters, and basically it was shaped like as in like a dual-wielded gun, and like the triggers or to move around, you had the joysticks in the front, but like it was shaped in like in a connected gun, and then when you fired the gun on the plastic controller, like it actually showed the ammo count, how much you have left in your gun in the game on the controller. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. Back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that stuff.
Yeah. Anywho, Greg, thank you for joining me for talking about this.
Post show.
And well, before we leave and before I can even talk tonight, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on Twitter at ChubRockGeek. You can subscribe to my YouTube page, which is just ChubRock. I have a few shows on there that you may or may not enjoy. And I'm going to start uploading more content or adding more content to